Gather round and welcome to the debut of Todd Talks College Football. I'm so glad you can join me on this journey into the 2025 college football season. A little bit of background about myself. My name is Todd, and I'm a college football junkie, an absolute fanatic, crazy for the sport. For the past 35 plus years, I've been talking college football to pretty much anybody that'll listen. During that time, I've heard a lot of people tell me, hey, Todd, you should start a podcast. You start a YouTube video. You should do something to talk about college football. Well, this year, I just happen to have some extra time. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to spend the next 5 months with you talking college football in my 5 thoughts on this week in college football. People ask me, why are you so passionate about college football? Well, for me, it all started when I was about 10 years old. I got my first Arch Sleester jersey. That's right, number 10 for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Well, from there, it's grown into an absolute obsession to the point where I have 5 TVs in my garage and spend 14 hours on a Saturday watching college football. Thursdays, Fridays, heck, Tuesdays and Wednesdays when it starts in October. It's a 5-day-a-week job here just to keep up with everything that's going on. And I absolutely love it. I wouldn't trade it for the world. It's my hobby. It's my passion. It's my enjoyment is when we get to watch some of the great games that occur every single week here in what I think is the greatest sport on the planet, college football. It's the smell on a Saturday morning that's just different in college football season. It's the excitement building for the game, for your team, for your conference, whatever it is. It's the memories. It's the memories like Keith Byers running out of a shoe or Eddie George running through the Notre Dame defense, from the kick six at Auburn to the wide right 1, 2, and 3. From the 75-yard touchdown pass from Cordell Stewart to Michael Westbrook to beat Michigan. From George Teague and Maurice Clarett making 2 of the greatest plays I've ever seen to secure their team's national champions by stripping the ball from the opposing team in critical situations. From Herschel Walker, Bo Jackson, Marshall Falk, Derrick Henry, Ezekiel Elliott. It's Doug Flutie. It's Holy Toledo and Drew Brees. It's my son's first tackle for loss against Worcester College. It's Jack Sawyer's sack, scoop, and score that put Ohio State in last year's national championship game. These are the reasons why I keep coming back. So where are we going to go in this 2025 college football season? Well, I tell you, folks, I think it's going to look a lot like the 2007 season. 2007 might have been one of the craziest seasons we've ever witnessed in college football. We had number 2 teams losing virtually every week. We had number 1 teams losing late in the season and somehow still getting back into the BCS championship game. It was just total bananas. And I think we're on the verge, on the precipice of that again here in 2025. I mean, we have wide open races in the Big 12, in the Big 10, in the SEC. Heck, the only conference that you probably could just pick the winner right now of is the ACC and Clemson. Outside of that, who the heck knows where this season's going? But it's very exciting as we find out exactly where it is going to finish. Probably the craziest conference out of the box this year is the Big 12. I mean, we got 9, maybe 10 potential teams that can win this conference. We got 9 teams with starting quarterbacks coming back. And we got some big names in here, folks. We got Sam Leavitt. We got Sawyer Robinson from Baylor. I like to call him the Sawyer Robinson Band. It's a kind of a 1970s sounding band. We got Rocco back at Iowa State. We got Avery Johnson coming back to Kansas State for a sophomore year to see what he can do. We've got just a lot of great matchups this year in this conference. And it is going to be an absolute Wild West in the Big 12 to see who can get down and make it to the college football playoff. I think it's going to be a battle. I think there's maybe only one team that can survive this thing and get to that college football playoff just because of the complete parity that's happening out here in the Big 12. We got Rich Rod and Scott Frost coming back to the conference, which will be fun in a couple years when they get those programs at West Virginia and UCF back up and running. So, I mean, I think the Big 12 is going to be one of the most exciting conferences to watch this year. I'll be keeping my eyes on it, especially on some of these big games out of the chute here with Baylor and Auburn. What a great opening early matchup there. So, again, I think the Big 12 is going to be the Wild West, and it's going to be something that you're going to want to watch every week. Much like the Big 12, the SEC is going to be a battle royale to see who can get in this playoff this year. 4, 5 teams probably coming out of the SEC, and I'm telling you, it is going to be a bloodbath. If you looked at some of these schedules, Florida, LSU, South Carolina, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Auburn. I mean, these schedules are just brutal for these teams. You got Alabama and Georgia and Texas breaking in what I'm going to consider relatively new or quarterbacks have never started anything meaningful in their career, trying to lead these teams right back to the playoffs. In Alabama, back to the playoffs after a couple year hiatus. So it's going to just be just a bloodbath in the SEC. You got some big games starting this season. You got LSU going to Clemson for the Battle of Death Valley. You got Florida playing Miami. You got Georgia playing what I think is going to be an extremely talented Georgia Tech team at the end of the season. It's just going to be who can survive. And I'm pretty sure that there's going to be a 9-3 SEC team in the playoffs this year. Because I'm telling you, if Florida gets through this schedule with 3 losses, or LSU gets through their schedule with 3 losses, or Auburn or Oklahoma gets through those schedules with 3 losses, those teams are going to be real worthy of a playoff spot, especially over maybe another conference with only 1 loss. But man, it is going to be fun to watch in the SEC. I'm going to have my TVs tuned in every week to these games because I'm telling you, we're going to see some absolute great football coming up this year in the SEC. We're looking at the Big Ten, and this is going to be an interesting year in the Big Ten. We got 11 teams in the Big Ten this year breaking in new quarterbacks. We got 2 of the most experienced teams in the country coming back really in strong position to make a run, and that'd be Penn State and Illinois. We've got transfers coming in to start at new positions. We've got Jeremiah Smith. It's just going to be an insanely great year in the Big Ten. But really, it's going to be which of these quarterbacks can play. Is it Underwood at Michigan? Is it Julian Sains or Lincoln Keyholes at Ohio State, the South Dakota kid? Can Dante Moore take over at Oregon and keep up the tradition of these last couple transfers that have been in there? It's just going to be wild. And we're going to get to witness it all on a weekly basis if you're a Big Ten fan like myself. We're going to see just some action-packed road games. We got Fernando Mendoza coming into Indiana. You'll see him, one of my early Heisman contenders. Old Fernando can sling it, put it in Kurt Cignetti's offense, and we'll see what he can do. But I think the Big Ten, much like the SEC and the Big 12, it's going to be tough road in those conferences, and you just can't lose these non-conference games and lose a couple in the Big Ten and get to the playoff. You got to be on top of your game every week in this conference, just like in the SEC. We'll see where we go from the Big Ten, but I think we're going to have a heck of a season in that conference too. The ACC, I think it's a one pony race right now, and that's the Clemson Tigers. I don't see anybody in that conference that's going to compete with the talent and the experience that Clemson's bringing back. But with that being said, Georgia Tech brings a lot of experience back, and they got the Haynes and Haynes duo at quarterback and running back that really could have a great season there for the Ramblin' Wreck of Georgia Tech. We got Miami and SMU trying to jump in that mix too. SMU was in there last year. SMU's got a little bit tougher schedule this year. I don't see how they're going to get out of that conference without 3 losses this year. In Miami with Carson Beck, who knows where we'll go with that. But I know this. They're going to be fighting up until the end to try to get in that playoff spot. I don't know. I see 2 at the most teams here in the playoffs coming out of the ACC, and one of those teams is damn near Clemson. But if Georgia Tech could beat Georgia at the end of the year and only have 1 loss, they could get into. I just don't know that Miami and SMU have enough to get through these schedules with only 1 loss, which is what it's going to take this year in the ACC to get to that playoff. So that's my quick thoughts on the Big 12, the SEC, the Big 10, and the ACC. My next show, I'll be breaking down my Baker's Dozen, which is my preseason poll and my groupings. I only rank the top 13 teams. We have a 12-team playoff, and it really boils down to who can get in that playoff spot. So I rank the top 13. My next show will be the preseason Baker's Dozen, which I'll release my top 13 teams in the order that I think they're going to start the season with. The other nice thing about my Baker's Dozen is I don't care where you were last week. Your performance this week's poll is based on what you did last week. So if you were number 1 and you played like crap, you may drop out of the poll. If you're number 14 and you're playing great, you might jump all the way to number 1. I don't do this. Well, they were number 1 last week. They got to be number 1 this week. No. We go by what we see on the field, and what we see on the field determines where they're going to be ranked. So look for that show coming next, and we'll see you soon. And remember to gather round and always ALTT. Hope you enjoyed the show. Be back soon.